page 9, in the middle of the first paragraph. So we finished, if you remember, in the beginning of the Mimer, in the beginning of the Mimer, the Mimer started, that is in page Rachel Hess. Then it said, the Yurim be'egdem, right in Tchila, the Gemara, the Chul, Amar Yerech Nekadosh Baruch. The whole back and forth between the moon and the Eivishla Kaviyachol, Mati Satzmech, V'ele Kapor. So we finished, at this point, we finished explaining the way he explains in this Maimah the whole concept of the Mir Tayareach and the Kapora. So the whole thing, like we said, is the union of Avedas Abirurim. To Avedas Abirurim, we reach the Gilir Atzmos. Nice. Going back to the beginning of the Maimah, the Eastern. So it's in the middle of the first paragraph, the 2 lines before the bottom of the first paragraph. So all this that we explained till now will explain the meaning of the pasuk. Remember, we brought from the Zohar. The Zohar asked the question: you need Shlomo Melech to tell us that wisdom is an advantage of foolishness. So the Zohar answers, Pshat is Chachma Bo min HaSichlos. It's a type of wisdom we derive from the foolishness. There's even a biurim. It go into the world of foolishness, which in our context means the world which is removed from a connection to Likus. And you mavar it, and you bring so then there is in a Chochmah is higher, like we just explained in the Maimah, the mile of the Avodah Samata. The inner is Ani Upnas Malchus. Ani, the word Ani is Malamas of Malchus. That's what it says in other places in Zohar and Kabbalah. The word Ani Tefillah, Ani is Malchus. Is Ani. So the Chochmah is yered in sichlos. When Ani is yered in sichlos, when Malchus descends in Biyah, it is a madrega Biyah. That brings the Atzmi that we spoke about earlier. That to the Biurim we reach the higher level. To the after the Avodas Biurim. That pasuk we just said is from Koheles. Who wrote Koheles? Shlomo HaMelech. The Gemara says in Merubas. Ani Koheles ben David Melech Yerushalayim. That's the pasuk. So Koheles is written by Shlomo. So the pasuk Vayisi Ani with Shlomo. Shebiyama ve'kayim asir b'Shlomus. In the time of Shlomo HaMelech, like we learned in the Maimah before, so kayim asir b'Shlomus. The moon was at its peak. Because that's what the Medrash says, that David and Shlomo were like taught in the 15th generation from Adam Rishon. So the day 15 of the month, that is when the moon is full. So the Shlomo represents the union of Shlomo the perfection. On one hand, it's not cheshach, it's not sichlos, it's shleimus habiur, it's shleimusa. But that gufa, how do we reach the shleimusa? That's the shleimus habiur. Okay, do a shvagim shleimus the Adam David Mashiach. So we brought again. That's a concept we learned in the Maimah before this Maimah. There's the Adam as Rashatev, Adam David Mashiach, which represents the 3 peaks of the history of. History. Adam Rishon is the highest, and the end is Mashiach, and the middle is David.
The time is not even, though, no? What? The time, it's not 15, like David or Shlomo was 15 generations. Mashiach, it seems it's a lot longer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. So the thing of 15, the remez of 15 only applies between David. It doesn't apply to this. It doesn't apply to this entire In other words, the concept of 15 is only a remes in one part, the shlemusa. But you're right. Also, I'm not sure that the 15 generation start from Adam or from maybe from Avram. I don't remember what the Melech says. So the Indian 15 is not that important in this context. He said, Adam doesn't show Gam David or Bichal. David is part of it. It is the Shleimus. There's the Shleimus of Adam, the Shleimus of Moshe, the Shleimus of David. But David, Oya Yish Milchama, Shalom and Matel. David, we know, as Oya Yish Milchama. You know, his Avodas Hashem was in the state of Milchama, which means a battle, which means Milmatel Amayla. The Ikar Shleimus of Meshleim, and the ultimate perfection was Shleim. That's why Shleim, like it says, V'yish Menucha. Menucha is that the Eibush told David HaMelech, you are not going to build this Hamikdash, only the son Shleim, V'yish Menucha. But the mile, the high level of spiritual Geluim at the time of Shleim is the result of the Milcham and Berurim of David. David has a Chanel b'Beis Hamikdash. The meaning is Hamikdash the Shleim. That much also who even the bias the Shmuel. Chanel b'Beis Hamikdash also David. So that just brings at one point that in order to read the Shleim, to reach this Shleim, that's why Shleim said R'Dovid Olidort. I was going to say more a little more later. That's why he said R'Dovid Olidort that Shleim saw it, but Shleim saw the Chachma Min HaSichlus. That means the Birurim that was the David actually started. The David was in that state of Achana. It says similarly, we said before, Adam David Mashiach, the ultimate Shleimus will be in the time of Mashiach. Similarly, just like Shleim HaMelech, he reached the Shleimus of Shleimusa to the Achana of David. It's a similar way the Geluim of La'asid, which is even higher than Shleim, that's also to the Geluim of La'ashal. Asid Shigma, Geluim, Asid Geluim is it. Zayn is nach Chachma Nasich, Zayn Shachachma, Sha'is, and then Bill Asich. The Isa, like it said, that's what he said earlier, the Zohar says. One is the Isa, this one is not, the advantage doesn't mean that wisdom has advantage over foolishness. That's a Chidush. Chidush, the Zohar says, is, mean, Sha'is, who, the Isra, the advantage of Torah of Chachma is when it comes from Biro Sichus, from the refinement of the Sichus. So that's Ma'um is another pasuk in when they get the Shleim. The Lashon in the pasuk says, but I think it's in Melachim, but Torah Chachma Shleim Mechachmas Nekedem. Shleim's wisdom was greater than Chachmas Nekedem. Which those days, Chachmas Nekedem is considered the highest Chachma. So again, the word Mechachmas can be typed two ways. Mechachmas is more than or more from. They are built the Chachmas Nekedem and the Zemisabach of Shleim. Dafka the Berurim is the Meirat. Okay, so that's another point. The fact that the Israel is what he said, what they called before Atzmi. That's also Marumas in the Pasuk V'Raisi Ani Sheshisa. That's Marumas. The in the Mashakos of Ani Rishon Ani Acha in the Pasuk, there's a famous Pasuk Ani Rishon Ani Acha in Balada in Elikim. That's what we say in davening of, I think in the Malchus, say it in davening for Rosh Hashanah. So the Lashon is Ani Rishon Ani Acha in Balada Elikim. It's a Me'eres, and the Sefer Me'eres says Pshat. In that Pasuk, Ani Rishon in the Malchus Da'ak, Lo. And Rishon talks about the very high Rishon, means the very high Madrigan Malchus. It's called Malchus the Ak Shmarubash Beradlo. Radlo is called, it's an expression in Zohar, Reisha Delois Yada, the head, the Rishon, which is unknown. That's another name for Atik, I think. It's a very high Madrigan Kesef, which is the Malchus, the Ak. So Mele, it's called Ani. We just said Ani means Malchus. Which Madriga is Malchus Ani Rishon is the highest Madriga Malchus. Malchus, the Lo. Adlo plus Ein Weines is Ani. Just said Adlo is Rishon, the Lo Yisiyah, that's unknown. That's why it's Ein. Ein means it's nothingness. Means it's not nothing above any Metzius. The Mele, that is possible. So Ois Ani. So Ani Rishon is Madriga of Malchus the way it is Adlo. Right, Malchus Da'ak. Ani Achen is Malchus. Ani Achen is the lowest level of Malchus. Malchus Datzilus. So Omasha Oma Ani Rishon Ani Achen Masha Malchus Gabes with Nisa Kesser. So Malchus is Ani Rishon Ani Achen means that the Ani Achen gets is Makabel from Ani Rishon. So Malchus Gabes with Nisa Kesser. Zayin V'Raisi Ani. שזה אומר שלמה, ומי שלמה יקיים שם של מוסר, שזה הגוף על ידי בירור. Okay, this line is just like a sitcom, a synopsis of the whole paragraph. Okay, so the point is that we explained the pasuk, according to this Zohar, that through the biur, which comes from Malchus, we reach the highest level, the Yisrael HaChochma, and the Yisrael HaChochma is the Ani Rishon, which is Hadlo, which is the same thing as the Atzi. Now brings in another thing, which I think we didn't have it. We didn't bring it at the beginning. Another medrash. There's a medrash, Mishum Rab Meir. There's a medrash, medrash says Mishum Rab Meir, and the pasuk V'Raiti Anishesh Yisrael Chachma Nasichlus says the medrash Kashem Shesh Yisrael Lo'er Lachosh Akach Yesh Yisrael Divrei Torah Al Divrei Havolim. So the lashon is Al Divrei Havolim. Maybe actually, yeah, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Yeah, that's the first matter she brought out in the beginning of the mind. So this is the matter. It's also modern matter, but the matter. First of all, what's the matter? Shmachadash here. That's Rab Meir to say whole Shem Rab Meir. Sheyesh Israel. Forget. It's obvious. That was the question they asked in the beginning of the mind. What's the machadash in the pasuk? First of all, the question was the chiddush of the pasuk. The Yisna Chachma Nasichlus. It's obvious. Number two, what is Rab Meir machadash here? See, now he's going to go and explain. Okay, I'm sorry. It's explaining now that medrash. The concept of havolim means the word hevel means there's a nice few words in English with the word hevel. It means something which is pointless. Havolim, it's nothing. It's nonsense. In the word of seichel, it's nonsense. And it's nothing. So the ba'avolim is zayin avolim. We know that the pasuk says describes 7 avolim. Shekosov haveil havolim amakeles. So haveil havolim it's 3 because haveil is 1, avolim is 2. So it's 3. Then it's haveil havolim again, which is another 3. Hakel hovel. Haveil havolim amakeles. Haveil havolim hakel hovel. So that's 7. 7 avolim. What is the Zayin Samon? So the Medrash says Shem Keneged Zayin Meberishis. The 7 avolim represent the 7 days of creation. Shezeu Achayes Elikish and Nasav Chnes Makar Lahavas. So the concept of havolim, this design havolim, that signifies the 7 days of the unit of Bria Sa'olam, Shivas Mebereshis. It's interesting that the 7th, the Shabbos is also part of it. Sometimes Shabbos, even Shabbos is also part of creation. So so all 7 are considered havolim because why? So we explained earlier in the Maimon. The whole Maimon was actually the essence of the Maimon. Before he came back to the story of the Yoreach, he spoke about the whole concept of Chassidus always talks. Key, which is Melubash and the Elements, which is Ha'or Ba'alma, and then there is a Chai, which is then there's the Atzi. So the Chayes Aliki, Knasam Makal Lehavois, Chinazu Shayach Yinika. Like we said earlier, on that level, of Gilui Likus, which is descending into the state of creating of the world, it's possible it should be a nikut chitzainim. It's possible that the chitzainim, that the forces of evil should have a nikut, should have give a source to clippers. Like I said a few times, when a teacher waters down the idea so low that everybody can understand, so sometimes it's so watered down that the Talmidim Oroim can easily to misinterpret and use it for the opposite of what the teacher wants. Torah as an advantage. Torah protects us that it should not allow Yinikas Hatzayim. Ma'amar Razal, Divrei Torah einam makablim tumah. That's the famous Gemara. Divrei Torah makablim tumah. Chein Talmidei Chacham ein neshel geyanim shaletas b'hem. Another Gemara, it's the end of Chagiga. Talmidei Chacham ein neshel geyanim shaletas b'hem. Both of these Gemaras tell us that Torah has the power that prevents Yinika of Tzayim. So that is the meaning of Meir's statement, Sheyesh Isran Loyal Acheshach. The Isran means they're not talking about advantage that the wisdom of Torah is or other forms of wisdom. We're talking about the mile that there is no Yinika of Tzayim. That's step one. But V'hikar, now it goes back to what it said earlier in the Maimon, that Yisrael Chacham min hasichus. Hikar, basically, shebei devatar le'avolim, and ha'abiro shel avolim. This is v'chachma the Torah. The ultimate Yisrael that the Torah has is not just that it has an advantage, but the ultimate Yisrael is when it's mevar, when it laws itself within the realm of the avolim, of the Chachma, of the Chachmas, the Kedem, of the Avolim, and it's Mavar, it should get the Isa, like we explained earlier. Shezeo Shekosam Chachmas B'chutz Toreino, and that's always another person. Chachmas B'chutz Toreino. The Chachmas will sing B'chutz, outside. What does it mean B'chutz? He says that Toreino is Rimnona Dei. So Toreino in this context means Renona Deiraisa, the song and happiness of Torah. Shiur v'tainik, the Torah brings sakesa. In fact, the Torah contains within it this high level of joy and delight because it comes from sakesa. It expresses the deepest level of delight. Meile Deiraisa mechachmanaf. Torah itself is a Chachma Nafkes. Torah itself, when it's a Kesser, it's very Indian. Torah no calls them the Chachma B'chutz. It's not the Chachma B'chutz about. Then Torah say, "Oh, B'chachma the Torah." So basically, so that part of Chachma B'chutz Torah is also Maram, is the same concept we said. When the Chachma is B'chutz, when the Chachma itself is the Chachma Nafkes. Chachma Torah itself, it's not a very high level, but it's still Chachma. That's the limit of intellect. But B'chutz, when it goes outside to be mevar the chachmas of Chitzayin, then Toreina, it reaches the level of Tainu, Pnimis HaKesef, which is above Chachma. By then it says over Chachma the Torah. So the Chachma gets an influx of energy which is higher than the Madrig of time. Zel Gamkin Meshab Meir Bal Chadash Al Kostu. Now we're going to explain better what Meir was added. What was the Mechadish and the Pasuk? Pshat HaKosem Machna Sheison HaChachma the Torah Al HaSichus. So in other, the way he learns Pshat is the Meir said the same thing, similar to what the Zohar said. The simple Pasuk, Pshat in Pasuk is Shesh Yisrael B'Chachma the Torah Al HaSichus. The Chachma is an advantage of it. חידוש רב מאיר הוא שיש יותר בבירו של ההבון. חידוש רב מאיר, the advantage, the terrorism is not its own advantage, but it's a result of the biro of the Havolim, of the biro of the Havolim, of the nonsense, which means the sichlus, the klippers. שעל זה ניתייסס סרס בחוכם דתר. זה גם מה שכוסו, so that also moves in the other pasuk which we had read earlier, על ישראל חוכם בחוכמוסי. What earlier this pasuk? ישראל חוכם בחוכמוסי, ישראל בגבורוסי, על ישראל ראשו באושרי, כי אם בזויס ישראל למישראל. So earlier he said that בזויס זרם בספירס המלכוס, because malchus מבר ביור. That's what he says here. זה גם שכוסו, ישראל חוכם בחוכמוסי, שבחין לצחוק מדי הצילוס, כי אם בזויס אני נסתף של המלכוס ויהיה לבר ביור, על זה מיתייס סרס בחוכם מדי הצילוס. זהו מה שכוסו, ראיתי אני ששיצנו לחכם לסיכלוס, שדווקא זה ראיתי המלכוס ויהיה לבר ביור, through the descent of malchus in אילומוס בייה, to be מבר ביור, שהנה ביר הסיכלוס, על זה מיתייס סרס בחוכם, שזה הנה אסקל וידע אויסי. So here, ask whether AC canal. So that's what the pasuk says. Ki im bezois isal misal asko v'yoder oisi. So through the zois, through the fact that malchus is yered lamata, the biurim, that to that we reach the teisvus ayos, the ayar atzne, which is oisi, that the pasuk says asko v'yoder oisi. All right, we're going to start the Maimer again. Zum zweiten Mal, page Reshut Ches. ראיתי אני שיש ישראל נכח מן הסיכלוס, כי ישראל נראה, הבא מן החש. זה פסק נקיירס. הנה איסה במדרשל, זה אומר משום רב מאיר, כשם שיש נכח מן החש, כך יש את מדריותר על דברי אבל. רב מאיר says, Mayor, he said the name of our mayor, it's a great statement. Just like dark light has an advantage over darkness, Torah has an advantage over divrei avol. The move, Ma'abar Mayor Chadash Divrei Kotz.
We're missing a visual.
What?
We can't see.
Can see, sir.
No problem.
I mean, you can hear. I can see.
Okay, that was good.
Thank you. So the question is, מה בר המאיר לחדש על דברי הקוטב? זה פשוט יש למיקרו ככה משמע, שיש איתנו חוכמה של יותר, סיפור של דבר הבאים. מה בר המאיר לחדש? That's the question that he asks. The truth is, we can argue, look, it's a question of Chassidus and there's the answer, but in other words, the anocha is that it says in Kehelis, שיש לה חוכמה means Torah. But that's not the most simple pshat. You can say that Rameir is Machadesh, that when it says Chochma in Pasuk means Torah. That's I'm saying. But okay, but the Anocha is that it says Chochma, Yesh Isra Chochma, and it says in Pasuk Chochma means Chochma, it's a Torah. The mail is the question, what is Rameir Machadesh? So that's point one. So that's one thing we have to address. What is Rameir Machadesh in the Pasuk? Number one. Number two, in the Zohar matmir al pasuk ze. The Zohar asked a different question. The pasuk. Hisharba nash leyada sheyesh. That's the Zohar asked. Hisharba nash leyada sheyesh. The rest of humanity doesn't know that wisdom is an advantage of foolishness. So that's the Zohar's question. What is shloima? The big Chacham Shlomo comes to tell us great chidush that Yesh Yisrael Chacham in Asichos. Everybody knows that. Marich Sham Beinyan, and he's there's Arichos in the Inyan in the Zohar over there. And then he explains how Kabbalah. Obviously, what's the answer? The answer is Shlomo P'nes Malchus P'nes Chacham Tato. What was Shlomo? Shlomo was a melech. He was the ultimate king. He was the most successful king. At the same time, he was a chacham in Kolodom. So what does it mean in the language of Kabbalah? Malchus shel Chochmat HaTorah. Malchus sometimes not that frequent, but Malchus sometimes also called Chochmat HaTorah. Chochmat Elah, Chochmat Atzilus, Chochmat. The Malchus is called Chochmat HaTorah. It's a shleimus Chochmat HaTorah. Sometimes it says Chochmat Sheba Malchus. Dini yesh, he said, yesh Chochmat Bereish, Chochmat Besoid. There's two levels of Chochmat Bereish and Besoid. Chochmat Bereish is Chochmat Elah Atzilus. The Chochmat of Atzilus is called Chochmat Bereish. Chochmat HaTorah, Upchinas Malchus Sheres Davar Biurim, they name Shaltesh Esel Chochmat Atzilus. And Malchus Chochmat, which is Shleim HaMelech, Chochmat HaTorah, its function is that Yered Lamata Davar Biurim. Malchus lowers itself, descends in the law Eilam Biyah to Mevar Biurim. That's what the Zohar explains over there. That to the Yerid of Biurim in Biyah, that gives Teisves Eres and Chochmat HaTilus. Zeksiv, and the Zohar also brings the pasuk. Alisal Chochmah Mosek. We just said Kim Bezeis Yisal Misal Aska V'Yadeh Oisi. So says the Zohar Pshat. Alisal Chochmah Mosek and Chochmat HaTilus. Alisal Alisal. That's not the ultimate praise. Kim Bezeis Yisal Misal. Zeis darf ich alles machen, das alles doch ja war bei Urim, aber das darf nicht nimm schaftet zu sagen, machen da Ziel ist schon in Askel wie there is. We just read it in the end of the Ma'amah. It's in the beginning of the Ma'amah. So the pasuk says, "Kim bezois." Zois means Chachmat HaTorah. To the Yerida of Chachmat HaTorah, the Mevar, the Urim of Biyah. That makes the Chachmei, that gives the taste of Eretz Chachmei Lo. Askel wie there is. זהו עניין איסן החוך מן הסיכלוס, שהידי ביר הסיכלוס, זה נעשה איסן בחוך. That's the meaning, איסן הרי מן הסיכלוס, like he says it like Bahavlo. The point is that איסן מן הסיכלוס doesn't mean more that Chachma is advantage over sichlus. It means from the sichlus, from the bir sichlus, from the refinement and elevation of the foolishness, which means the madrigas, which are outside of the realm of connecting to Elikus, and when you remember that is Moisiv Askavideri, that is an Chachma. It adds the Chachma. So this is how we explain the pasuk. We still have to understand. I mean, it just makes a statement. So first of all, we still didn't answer clearly what our Meir's Chiddush is. Number two, this statement we just made about Chachma and Malchus, etc., needs more elaboration. So to elaborate that, it brings in the next sugya in this Maimon. The Gemara in Chulin. The Gemara in Chulin says, the Gemara in Chulin describes a whole discussion and the Shaklavitaria and the drama, call it drama, that happens in the pasuk. Funny thing, he brings the pasuk later, but we can bring the pasuk forward. The pasuk said, "Vayas alikim shnei sagdalim." Abraham made two big luminaries. As Amora Godel and Michel Sayem, Amora Kot and Michel Salayim. The big luminary to rule in the day, and the smaller one at night. Now, again, if you talk pshat, you say there were two big, but between the two big, one is smaller. That's also fine. It's a good pshat too. But the Gemara digs deeper. That really, Ma'eres HaGdolim means they were both large. Large means in the sense they were both powerful. They were equal. And then one of them became Ma'er HaKot. That's the Gemara. That pasuk describes a major, we can call it disruption. There was a all of a sudden, one of them is a Ma'er HaKot. Something happened. Something major happened. So the Gemara describes what happened. The first there was there were two big luminaries, the sun and the moon. Said the moon to the Eibishter, how can two kings use the same crown? You can't have two luminaries. One of us has to go, or something like that. Allah, what did the Eibishter answer? You open your mouth, okay, you diminish yourself. Don't be a Mara God anymore. Allah answer the moon to the Eibishter. Just because I told you a valid, fair argument, you have to understand it's illogical. The two kings should rule at the same time, at the same crown. It's impossible. So I gave you a logical argument to you. That's how you're punishing me, that I should diminish myself. That's shutting them off. Allah, actually, it's a famous Agat in Chulin. There's all foreign written on that Agat. There's all kinds of explanations. But here we're gonna look the way Chassidus Gufa does a lot of it. The one way of how to explain this interesting story. Allah, okay. Allah, so what? So the Eibishter answered, you know what? You're right. You have a good time, but okay, you already diminished yourself. So what is what we call today consolation price? Because you have a good argument. So after you already diminished yourself, but the moon also sometimes we can see the moon at day also. It's not only at night. The sun we can only see at night in the day, but the moon we can see the day. And I don't know what that means. But you know, but the funny thing is, and later in the Maimon, it doesn't answer that. I think that particular line it doesn't address. Pirish Rashi, like I said, Rashi says that in order to console the Yoreya, the moon, they told, you know what, you have an advantage over the sun. You are also around in the daytime, not just at night. Then the Eibush told the moon other words of consolation. Number one, she saw Levana. That the Bnei Yisrael, Eden, will count their years, the month, the days by the moon. That's another mile Levana has over the Shemesh. And the third thing is the Tzaddikim Ikol Shmech. That the Tzaddikim will be named after the moon.
I'm sorry, I have just a stuff to add.
Yeah, sure.
The Yidden are like the moon, they also like to complain.
What? Yeah, look, it's a very interesting Gemara, like I said. There's a safer, there's an old safer for a Beisel Homeler, big Chas of Beisel Homeler called Shnei Me'eres. That's the name of the Sefer, because the whole Sefer is built on this Gemara. It's like 400 pages. Obviously he doesn't talk about all the detail, but only about that. But the whole thing is based on it. Explain what is this big argument that the moon and the Eibush go back and forth. It's okay. So listen, but after the Eibush told the moon, number one, you're gonna have daytime off. Number two, you saw my number one. The moon is still not happy. It didn't manage to appease the moon. What happened? So they say, you know what? It looks like the moon is not happy, so I need a carbon kapor. I need to bring a special carbon for forgiveness for the fact that I told the moon to diminish itself. Okay. I didn't see what today's in the Rosh Chodesh it says. So yeah, is that what it says today? What's the Lashon? See that we bring a series of chatas. What?
In the Kriya, yeah.
So you heard the Kriya today already?
I didn't hear it, but I know the Rosh Chodesh. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not Rosh Chodesh. I don't understand. So one of actually the Gemara, in a way, the Gemara says, wie kommt Chatas in mitten Rosh Chodesh? Chatas, usually Chatas, you bring Chatas, when the person does not very shege, you bring the Gemara, it's a carbon Chatas. It brings a carbon to forgive its sin, right? Kapor. Wie kommt der Chata in the mitten Rosh Chodesh? It's a regular day, right? Chatas. The answer is, according to this Gemara, so that's the main point of Gemara. or we are like a poor. It's to give the Eibishter for that quote unquote sin. Shemiyat say. Okay, so that's the story in the Gemara. So the Rebbe Shav here goes into the Gemara and he asks an obvious question. Number one, close the entire area. The whole concept that the moon was arguing. That's an interesting question. How can the moon argue with the Eibishter? Argue with the Eibishter? That's what they argue with the Eibishter. That we can answer. We see that Tavam been also argued with the Eibishter. But okay, but
The last pasuk here is in Echad Lachatas LaHashem.
Okay, thank you. Because I just have to sit in front of me. Okay. So, okay, good, thank you. Cholif says the question number one is Eich Mala Liba Litin connected by it. Question number one is the Chlal. How can the moon argue with the Eibishter? It's a question. Gam, then other questions. That's also interesting. That the Eibishter that when the Eibishter says, not only is the moon arguing with him, after the Eibishter answers, the moon argues back. I told you honest, I told you a fair argument. Not only is the moon arguing with the Eibishter, but the moon stands by its argument. It's also like it's a pill. Even if the Eibishter answers the moon, so the Eibishter in a way didn't say, hey, you're wrong. He said, you know what, you're right. He has to give a consolation. It's a modernist thing, but the Eibishter didn't know the moon has to teach the Eibishter what's right. And they said, you know what, you're right. You know what, I'll give you a consolation. And then even after that cancellation of the book, the ultimate thing in the end turns out the moon was right, the Eibishter was wrong, and they has to bring a carbon to forgive it. How is it possible before that when there's an argument between the Niva and the Niva will be right? It's interesting. It brings two psukim to prove the point. It's impossible that the Niva should be right against the Beir. Frankly, we don't need psukim. It's nothing to talk about. The Niva is not about the Beir. But it makes psukim even. There's a pasuk. There's a pasuk in Eve. Is it possible that the human being should be more right than the Eibishter? Another pasuk, because of a tofer is mishpotel man tivda teleizda v'nach kol choy. Okay, so it should, like I said, when we learn the Gemara without anything that it says, it be also like it's quite a like not standard way of understanding everything. Like they argue with the Eibishter says, you're right, let me bring a chov. What is going on over here? So obviously, the simple pshat is this entire drama is a remes, like a lot of Haggadahs in Gemara. It comes to teach us certain concepts, but the way it's expressed is through these very stark mashal. So what does it say? You know, the inexiv. So again, it brings I said I brought the pasuk earlier, but he started the pasuk again. The inexiv. I asked him, so the pasuk says these two parts that happen. So the Zohar describes this pasuk. So the Gemara describes it. There was all argument back and forth. How does the Zohar when the Zohar talks about this thing, it doesn't talk about the physical moon and sun and moon. When he says that means he says in other words, the Ma'eres HaGedolim from the Zohar's perspective, so the Shemesh and the Yereach mean Havai and Elikim. Two madrigas in Gil in the Amshachas V'Leikus. There's Havai and Elikim, like it brings in the minute the pasuk Shemesh Hamogen Havai Elikim. The two madrigas, that's Shemesh Hamogen. But here's Shnei Ma'eres HaGedolim. represent the two madrigas of Havai and Elikim, which later we'll see that usually it's called Zoh and Malchus. It means two levels of Gilui Elikus, or sometimes called Kutchabrich or Shchinte. The two levels of Gilui Elikus that exists in Nishtashalus. One is called Kutchabrich, one is called Shchinte, Shimsha and Sierra. Kadmisa, in the beginning, the Pasuk says, they bought Gedolim, which means in the beginning, they were both united with a very strong unity. Shmo Shlim Kachador. I don't know what Shmo is. Then they were all one and perfect together. That is step one. According to the means that both Ma'oris, Havai and Elikim, Zoh and Malchus, Shimsha V'Sira, they were both united in a very total, perfect unity. Then, the next step is Samara God. Samara God is Hashem Havai. Samara God is Hashem Elikim. That's the way the Zohar describes what happened. In other words, we use the Zohar. We use the Zohar here to explain that the whole Gemara doesn't talk necessarily about the physical moon and sun. We're talking about Madrigas and Gilui Elikus. One is called Havai, but it's Elikim, Zoh and Malchus, like we see later. And then, and there are two stages. Stage one is that they're in a state of total unity. Then he calls it Kitug, which I would say the complaint of the moon, complaint of Malchus. And when after there's a complaint, then there's the one of them becomes more, they separate, so to speak. The unity is not there. So the male, one is God and one is God. That's how the Zohar describes the inner meaning of this pasuk. So now he's going to get into the whole long discussion to understand this concept. So what he brings a pasuk Shemesh Magen Havai Elikim, and what at this point the only point he's taking out of this pasuk is he compares Havaya. Again, what is the simple meaning of Shemesh Magen Havai Elikim? What is forget about even Havai Elikim in the Chassidish sense? In the simple meaning, it means that the Eibush is our son and our protector. He is the source of our light, is the source of our protection. That's the simple meaning of the pasuk Shemesh Magen Havai Elikim. Comes Chassidus and says there's a deeper message that we compare. In other words, the Pasuk doesn't say son. Son means he is the source of our light. The sun is the source of everything. The Pasuk says we megat voice shamesh. Everything comes from the sun. So we compare the Eibush is like our son. That's like I said. That's the simple meaning. Comes Chassidus and says there's a deeper message here. We compare the way the Eibush relates to us to the way the sun, the light of the sun, biyachas to the sun. That's what he says. The kamoy she'or v'ziva shemesh amispashet lahoyer al. Just like the light, the light and the ray of the sun, which is expanding to shine on earth. And what happens to it? It's only a reflection. It's an extension of the essence. Sha'or ba'alma. It's only there's another word for it's I forgot the word. It's another word in English, but basically it means it's something external. The point what he's making here, the point that's negay here is it's in a state of it's a state of very far removed from the essence, from the body of the sun. It's something totally external. Stark comes from the moon, from the sun. The light reaches us, comes to us from the energy of the sun. It's all of that. It's something extremely external. the sun is not doesn't care, so to speak, whether the light goes or not. It's not. It's something. It's not part of the essence of the sun. It's an external expression. So it doesn't touch the essence of the sun. In a game, so that is one part, one aspect of the nature of light, of sunlight. Male, so that's a mushroom. It says Shemesh Ma'alakim. So the way Chassidus explains it is that the reason we can compare the Eibishter to the sunlight is to bring out this point. At the same point, the same way it is, just like it's in the light of the sun. That the Shem Havaya that reaches out, that creates the world, etc. It's only compared to the Eibishter himself. It's only it's only something external. So that's Marum is also in another pasuk. Just like but in our pasuk, the idea is expressed in the fact to compare Havaya to the Eir HaShemesh. Another pasuk says Ani Havaya Shmi. The Havaya was my name. That's Shem Va'olavat. Another, the name of a person is also something totally external to him. Name is a handle by which the outside could relate to the person. But a person, if a person lives by himself, he doesn't have to relate to the outside. He doesn't need a name. The name is a way for the outside for him to reach the outside to reach him. So it's something external. It's a shame. It's the same similar concept to Ha'or. All right. Continue tomorrow. Go.
Thank you.
The